Hey there, I am Christy Ruffino, former broke single mom turned CEO of 2 six-figure businesses and best-selling author with 15 books. But it wasn't always like this. Not long ago, I was a hot mess. Yes, I did a lot of things right, but mostly I was throwing spaghetti on the wall to see what would stick. Fast forward past many failed attempts and a few incredible victories, I not only get to share what I've learned along the way, I get to bring together top influencers as they share their empowering stories, insider secrets, and valuable resources that can be used right now to step into your power. So, if you're an ambitious entrepreneur, or possibly one in the making, and you're looking to create a business and life that lights you up, well, then you're in the right place. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. I am Christy Ruffino, and I'm really excited for you all to join me today. I have the pleasure of introducing my friend and interviewing my friend, Jennie Bellinger. Jennie is a certified professional coach and the host of the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast. She works with badass direct sales leaders, and she helps them focus on business growth activities so they can be present with their family and provide more success for their team. She is known also as the Direct Sales Domme because she has created an amazing process to be able to help people in the direct sales business be more focused, be all in, create more discipline, increase their sales, and build their own successful team. So today, Jennie is going to share some of her tips and tricks. And at the end, she's going to have an amazing gift for you all to be able to download. So stay tuned and make sure you catch the whole episode, because at the very end, Jennie's going to tell you how you can get her free gift. All right, we'll see you soon. I am excited to have you on the show today, Jeannie, and we're both going to keep our fingers crossed that we don't go into a coughing spasm, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we just got back. Both of us were on the marketers cruise, and we were both healthy the whole time. Everything was
Mhm.
perfect until we got home, and then holy cow.
There's something about being around 4,000 complete strangers from around the world that tends to help you bring home as I was telling my kids, I brought home a teeny tiny souvenir from the cruise,
Yeah,
and I'm not going to share it with you.
yeah, yeah. Well, more like 8,000, because think of the crew.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's
So
very true.
we had a lot of people, and we both brought home a little teeny souvenir. But it was so worth it. It was a great time.
Oh, gosh, yes, it is absolutely worth it. That's my second marketers cruise. And good golly, it was mm, I mean, the people you meet, the people who pour into you, like with no expectation of anything in return, right? They pour into you. They're like, "Oh, you're having this problem in your business? Here, that's my expertise. Let me share with you the knowledge and information of how you can fix that." And they just share all the information. So I've got notes out the wazoo in my program directory and my Rocket book. It's great. But then the wonderful thing is I get to do the same for other people, because then when they come to me and they're like, "I'm having this issue," and I'm like, "Oh, here, let me share my
Yes.
expertise." So it's just this wonderful karmic, beautiful thing that happens on the ship. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
8 days of it.
And then the relationships, right? The
Yeah.
how we build these deeper relationships, because we met in November on the podcasters cruise.
Mhm.
I did not bring home a souvenir from that one.
Oh, I did. I'm 3 for 3 now. I don't know what it is, but oh
Oh.
well.
Yeah.
So it's probably the fact that I live in the Midwest and it's winter time. And so my vitamin D levels are lower than everything. But that's a whole other conversation nobody else
Yeah.
wants to hear right now.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the bottom line is being in that type of an event where we're having fun, we're doing business, it creates these business relationships that can lead to anything. Right. I
Yes.
know we're working on a deal. You're on our podcast. I'm going to be on yours, but we're
Mhm.
working on a deal. Like it's just all of these deals that we can create because we're meeting the right partners. And that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I think it's a combination of a couple things. First of all, we got to be in each other's like physical space. So we get to
Yeah.
be around each other and do that whole read the body language, be around your energy, share who we are. Cause I remember on the podcasters cruise, I hadn't really gotten to spend a lot of time with you until one night we were going to dinner. I think it was at the steakhouse. And you and I and Marcel ended up sitting at the bar waiting for everyone else to show up, and we just that's where we got to know each other, and I was like, "I like this chick." I mean, I liked her before, but now I really like this chick. And it there's just something different about that. And then, of course, this time around, we've now been in each other's presence for 15 days,
Yeah.
right? And that's pretty hard to do on Zoom, to get 15 days worth of exposure with somebody, to be like, "Oh, that's what you do? Oh, well, that's something I need in my business. And how can we work together?" And blah, blah, blah. Right. And so it's the repetitiveness. We both showed up
Yeah.
fully and ready to gift and give and collaborate instead of just selling each other, which is fan freaking tastic.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. It's great. And so we are here now and we're going to
Hmm.
talk about your badass direct sales mastery methodology really. It's a
Uh-huh.
program but a step-by-step process to help people in the direct sales industry. Um, and we're going to talk about that in the second half of today's show. We're going to dive into your pillars and really, I know you really want to provide a ton of value to help people that are listening to make tiny changes in their business. But before we do that, I want you to share your story because I'm sure you didn't wake up one day and decide, hey, I am going to build a business helping people in direct sales. And I know there's a lot of people that need the help that you provide. So,
Yeah.
what's your story?
What's my story? Well, I started my adult life as a middle school science teacher, which, if you were to see me right now, which I know nobody can because this is audio only, I have purple hair and tattoos. So most people are kind of shocked to find out that I started as a science teacher. Um, but I in November of 2008, I stepped back from teaching because that's when I had my first baby. And I was like, "Oh, I'm a teacher. I can go back anytime." Right? But what I didn't know was that, the recession was about to start or was in the process of starting. I swear it started the day after I left my job because I had heard nothing about it. And then all of a sudden could hear nothing else except we're in a recession. I'm like, great. And I just walked away from my dream job, right? Or what I thought was my dream job. And so I took 2 years to be mom. And when I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go back into the classroom, so it's now spring of 2010. So middle of the recession, I went through 18 interviews and heard 18 "we love you, we want you, but we can't afford you" versions of no. 18 of them through the
Wow.
course of late spring to late summer. And I went, okay. So after the 18th one, I was like, fine, universe, I will take the sign. I'm not meant to be in the classroom. So if not the classroom, where am I supposed to be? And literally within a few days later, I get an invitation in my mailbox. Yes, that snail mail thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, an actual invitation
Wow.
to a direct sales jewelry event. My sister-in-law had started with a company that I had never heard of, and they were having an event in the city near me. And so I said, well, I'll go support her. I'll, buy a piece of jewelry or something, and, we'll go from there. Well, I showed up at this event with my mom and one of my really good friends. And by the time we walked out of there, I was like, I had a business because they were really shooting to build this company in the city that I live in. So I'm in the St. Louis area, and they were coming into the company. Is it okay if I say the name of the company?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Park Lane Jewelry was
Oh,
coming
yeah.
into St. Louis. Yep. So very high quality company. They've been around since 1955. They're based out of Chicago, which, if listeners don't know, Chicago's about 5 hours from St. Louis. And I'm sitting here going, how has this company been around longer than Mary Kay? And I've never heard of them. And they're based from a city 5 hours away. Well, I went and did my research online, and I could not find anything bad about the company. Everything I found was great information. The Better Business Bureau said they took care of their stuff. So I said, all right, well, let's do this. So I started my business with Park Lane Jewelry in 2010. And within the first few months, I was one of the top salespeople in my organization,
Wow.
but I couldn't recruit for anything. Like,
Mm.
I didn't know how to recruit. I didn't know how to sponsor. It just wasn't happening. And when I finally figured out the things that I needed to know in order to recruit, and I figured out the tips and the tricks and the things to say, all of a sudden I was recruiting like you couldn't stop me recruiting. I went from recruiting nobody to I added 5 to my team between February and May of
Wow.
2011. So, and then we continued to build and grow because then I taught all these tips and tricks and verbiage to my team. So they also continued to grow. So they didn't have to wait as long as I did to build their teams. So, in 7 years with the company, I earned 9 trips, car bonuses, cash bonuses with commas in them,
Wow.
personal shopping. So they have a personal shopper on staff who will you send them some information, they'll buy clothes for you. Like, seriously, yeah, because they're a fashion company. So of course they're also going to send you fashion.
Yeah.
So like earned all of these things, but what I'm most proud of that my team and I earned was we hit number 1 in the world for group recruiting and number 3 in the world for group sales.
Whoa, I'm gonna give you a big cheer. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that for me was my first aha moment of, oh, I know how to teach others how to do this and
Mhm.
help them be successful. Because when we hit number 1 and number 3, we weren't trying for it. We were all just trying to reach our goals. That's it.
Following
Like,
the system that you created and the
yeah,
and the resources that you provided them.
exactly. So it was going through that process that really helped me to understand that. And then, of course, because I was the one who walked the stage, all these other leaders from the company started reaching out to me saying, hey, will you come train my team? Will you help me with this person? I'm banging my head against the wall trying to get this person to rank up. She's been trying to do it for 6 months and it's not happening. And I would get these ladies to rank up in 30, 60, 90 days, depending on
Mm.
what they were going for. So this is what really made me go, oh, I can coach people in this, but I didn't call it coaching. I could teach people how to do this is what I saw it as. Well, then I started meeting business coaches because of the networking I was doing. And I was like, up until that point, I thought coaches had whistles and stood on sidelines.
Yeah, I get it. I get
I
it.
didn't.
The word
These are
coaching
business
can mean
coaches.
different things to different people.
Yeah, I
Some
had
some
no
good
idea.
and not some not so good.
Right.
Yeah.
I just had no idea that coaching was a thing, right?
Mhm.
Outside of athletics. And so I met one coach in particular who really made a huge impact on me by helping me understand some of the way that coaching can help people. And so I ended up going and getting certified in the process that he was certified in. And so that was in 2017. And then I stepped away so that I could work exclusively with people in direct sales, network marketing, and MLM because I wanted to be able to provide them the upline that they all wish they had. Because for years I was very lucky. I had an amazing upline, an amazing mentor. And I realized some of the reason that people leave the industry is because they don't have an upline who knows how to support them, who knows how to help
Right.
them
Mhm.
sell more, recruit effectively, because that's another key piece. And they weren't necessarily teaching them how to lead. Right. And so this is what I do and what I've done since 2017, um, exclusively.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's a great distinction because you may, in the direct selling business, know how to bring people into your downline, right? If you
Mhm.
that's what they call it. But that doesn't mean you know how to teach people in your downline to build their downline,
Right.
right? It's a huge distinction. So you provide support in that area to make sure that they're a successful upline person.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's not just about the recruiting piece either, though. It's also about sales because one person's version of selling and what works for them isn't going to work for everybody on their team because we all have different behavioral styles. So I've also become an expert in the DISC assessment in helping people
Mm,
understand how they're showing up in the DISC behavioral styles and then helping them understand that my clients begin to learn how to understand who their team members are so that they can help them find what works for
for
them
them.
because they have a different way of showing up in the world.
Yeah, that's so true. So are you still a part of Park Lane?
I am not. I stepped back in 2017
Okay.
because I did not want there to be a conflict of interest.
I totally get
Um,
that.
and you know how it is when you stepped
Mhm.
into what you're doing, right? Because there's a calling, and I know when I get what I call business insomnia that I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
So it's that I can't sleep because whatever has been introduced to me. So the coaching thing came to me, and I met this guy in September of 2016. And for 90 days, I had business insomnia. I had trouble falling asleep because I could not stop thinking about coaching. And I was like, by the end of 90 days, I was like, very obviously, this is where I'm supposed to
Yeah.
be going. And I
No, that's
reached
so
out to him.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I reached out to him and said, okay, how do I become a certified coach like you? What do I need to do? And that's where it came from. So I had the same business insomnia when I started with Park Lane Jewelry for weeks after I started the business. I could not sleep because my brain was just going with all the things, right? And so
Mhm.
that's how I know when I'm heading in the right direction.
Right, when you're following your purpose.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, do you know Ruth Dolan or Ruthie Dolan
That
from
name
Park
does not
Lane?
sound
Okay,
familiar.
yeah, so
No.
I think she's retired now, and I don't even think she was in sales. I think she was part of the corporate team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she's my best friend's mother-in-law. So, I know, imagine
Oh,
that, and lived in the Chicagoland area, so that
yep.
makes complete, sense.
Mhm.
So, all right, well, thank you for sharing, your story and how you got interested in this and you found your calling and your I love that business insomnia, right? That you are just so
Mhm.
passionate about this that you just can't sometimes turn it off.
Yep.
I
No matter how
totally
much
get
you
it. I
try.
totally get it. So before we take a break and get into the teaching, can you share a little bit uh, about how you work with clients now? Like, who is your ideal client? Is it the somebody new in the direct selling, or is it the team builder who already has at least a few people that they've brought into the business?
Yeah, my ideal client, the ones that I'm able to produce the best results for are those who are they are about to hit six figures, but they just can't reach that thing. They've gotten stuck. They've plateaued because what got them to 75, 80, $90,000 is not the thing that's gonna push them into being able to make the six figures and multi six figures. So
Mm,
there's a skill that they're missing. There's a technique that they're missing. There's a leadership piece that isn't the puzzle piece that isn't there, and they don't know what's wrong. And I'm able to, like a beautiful mind, talk to them and then figure out, oh, this is what you're missing. Let's work on this together. And then all of a sudden they're hitting six figures and multi six figures with their team because now they've we've hit that pot of gold
yeah,
idea that worked for them.
totally.
And for everybody, it's a little something different. It just depends on their experience and what they've already learned and um, been going through to try and hit that next level, that next promotion.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, anytime you get in your business growth, there's always a point that getting to that next level is something that you can't necessarily do on your own, right? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so you may think you're doing all the right things, but there are obviously strategies and resources and the processes that you haven't tapped into. Otherwise, you would have already gotten to what you wanted to get to. So I love that you are that person that can help people in that specific journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ah, awesome. All right. So let's take a quick break. If you're listening right now, don't worry. Our commercials are very short and you want to come back because I know Jenny has some great content to share and she's got a special free gift and you're going to want it. So make sure you stick around to the end. So hang tight, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. This is Christy and Jennie Bellinger, and we are talking about how you can be a badass direct sales master with her badass direct sales mastery process. And I want to mention she has a podcast as well. She has all kinds of amazing things. And so we'll make sure that the link to her podcast is in the show notes because she has a ton of great resources on there as well. So, welcome back, Jennie.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is so much fun. I love getting to share my story because so many people really resonate with the idea of, oh, that's how you got there. Right. So,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Our stories are really what helps us connect with our prospects and cement the relationships with our current clients because they know us on a personal level. Since we typically only talk about their story, their journey, what they're doing, gives them a chance to know a little bit more about us,
Right.
our
Well, and
why.
my story connects to my process, which I know is what you're planning on asking me about in a minute anyway. So,
Totally.
because what happened with that was I not only wanted to help more people, but I had also noticed this interesting phenomenon at one of our events, because you know how they have those regional rallies and, like get everybody together on a Tuesday night at a hotel conference room and,
Yeah. Oh, rah, rah, right?
training and
Yeah,
rah,
yeah.
rah, rah, and a booking blitz and all the things, right? And I was about 6 years in, and it was around 2016. And I remember looking around the room, and there were about the same number of people that had been there approximately 6 years before. Now, the team had grown outside of the St. Louis region, but in the St. Louis region, there were about the same number of people who had shown up to this in the same exact hotel ballroom, right? And I was like, okay, 6 years ago, five of us were here. A, what happened to all those other women? And B, like, why are they not still here? Like, and what makes us, the five who are still here out of the 100, however many were in the room, what makes us different? And that's where I came up with my process that I work with all my clients on. So
Okay. So, are you ready to share your process?
I am. I am.
All right.
Absolutely.
And you guys
What
are
do you want
all
to
going
know?
to be surprised. She has a pillar or 4-step process.
Mhm.
Probably more like pillars, right? Because you've got
Yeah.
probably multiple steps within each pillar, but
Hmm.
it is BDSM.
Right. Which, if they hadn't made the connection before, badass direct sales mastery, BDSM, yes, it's all connected and yes, it's intentional because let's face it, sex sells and it gets people's attention. That's part of where it came from. Mama ain't no dummy, right?
Yeah.
So, so I was going through and figuring out, okay, what is it that makes the really successful people different? Because it wasn't just in Park Lane, because then I started talking to people in doTERRA and Mary Kay and Pampered Chef and a lot of different companies all across the board, all different kind of products. And the four same things kept coming up over and over and over again. And so I was like, all right, so obviously this is what it is. So the B in BDSM, in my four pillar process, is business mindset, because a lot of people who go into direct sales, network marketing, or multi-level marketing kind of go into it with an attitude of, I'll try this or I'll give it a shot. Or they talk about it to other people and they'll call it their side hustle or their side gig. And one thing that I noticed that was very, very different about the super successful is they never call it that. This is their business. They have an all in business mindset,
Mm,
right? Which
yeah.
any of your listeners who are in a different industry are like, well, duh. Yeah. And the investment to get started in direct sales and network marketing is a lot different than the investment it is to start any more traditional business. Because I will tell you, when I started my coaching business, it was not $5 like it was for me to start my Park Lane jewelry business in 2010, right? I paid $5 to start my business.
Yeah.
That's it.
So true. And that's why people don't necessarily give it that all in commitment
Hmm.
because they're just, I'm like, they think, oh, I'm going to just dip my toe in the water. And they see other people having success and they think, oh, it's just going to be easy. And they're not looking at it as a business that they really need to invest time in, invest training in, and use the right strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. And what they're not seeing, and trust me, everything we do in direct sales and network marketing is easy. Well, I should say simple, but not necessarily easy, right? It's all simple, right? But that business mindset is really what sets apart the people who are very, very successful and the people who drop out. And so I regularly share with people, if you do nothing else in the BDSM process but shift your mindset and how you talk about your business, because that's what it is, that right there already changes and makes everything else that you do so much easier, because it's no longer like, easy in, easy out. Because if you were to open a shoe store, if someone walked in, took a look at your shoes and turned around and walked out, you don't go, "Oh, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this." No, you go, "Okay," because you never know, the next person who's gonna walk in is a mom with 5 kids, and she's gonna be buying 5, 10, 15 pairs of shoes for her kids for the school year, right? So the person who invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars doesn't just give up at the first obstacle or the second obstacle, because they've invested in it. So even
Mm,
if a network marketer has not necessarily invested a ton of money, right? Because the average investment in this industry is somewhere around 150 to $200. Some of them are as high as 1,000. Some of them are totally free to join. So there's literally no financial investment for some of them to do that. But if you invest mentally and say, I am in this, and that was a big difference. So for me, I told myself, and I had a conversation with my husband when I started, I'm doing this for a year. I'm doing this this is a business. This is not a hobby. This is not whatever. It's going to take me a year at minimum to figure this out. So I 100% committed all in for 1 year. And I said, honey, this is what I need from you. And it was, A, please take care of the kids without complaining, right? They're your children. I take care of them during the day while you're at work and don't complain. Can we have that same, you know, thing on the other end? You're not babysitting your children. These are your children, right? So first thing, that was the first piece. Second one was, don't let me give up,
I love that.
right? Don't let me give up. No matter what's going on, encourage me to go find the next person to talk to, encourage me to go do whatever, but don't let me give up, because I know myself and I know that I can let myself off the hook fairly easily when things kind of get hard. So I would really appreciate your support. And this is what support looks like. And so he was willing to do that. So I had the all in mindset that I didn't realize was so rare in the industry. So that's
Mm.
the business piece, the business mindset.
So another kind of point to this is that a big part of building a direct sales business is the referrals, right? Client referrals, team referrals. And if you want people to support you, they need to trust that you are not going to go away,
Mhm.
right? Because they could, if they really like what you're doing, they could think, oh, I like this, but she's just kind of like dabbling. So I'm going to find somebody that is really on track to build a successful business. So then I'll get supported.
Yeah, absolutely, and I saw that happen. I literally saw that happen. There would be people who would show up at my parties, and I would not know that they had a friend who was also in the same company,
Mm-hmm.
and they would join my team, and these people would come up to me afterwards and go, "Why'd she join your team?" "I don't know. I asked her."
Yeah.
Like, I asked her, and in some cases, they'd be like, "Well, I asked her too," and I'm like, I don't know. You'll have to talk to that person." And it turns out that they were like, "Well, Jenny's taking this really seriously, and I want someone, you know, who's gonna do this." Because I would tell people at parties, I'm like, "Look, if this is not for you, if you're not willing to hop in all in on a business, then I'm not the leader for you. I'm not the person for you, or whomever you may be sending for me. I don't take on people who want to try this. I want people who are committed to their own success because my time is valuable. I'm a
Yeah.
mom and I've got kids and a business that I'm running. And
Yeah.
I don't have time for people who are trying this
Dabbling.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
dabbling. This
Exactly.
is not a hobby. This is a business for me. And I
Yeah.
explained the difference between the two. So yeah, absolutely. It happens quite a lot when
Okay.
people see someone serious.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So let's transition to D.
D, this is the discipline.
Ah,
Surprise, surprise, the discipline that it takes to run a business. And so sometimes it can be something as simple as just do the business for 15 minutes a day, right? And in network marketing, it is very doable to build a good business. I mean, you're not going to be doing six figures and multi six figures on 15 minutes a day, but you can do multi six figures in 4 hours a day, literally part-time work, and be making multi six figures in 2 to 4 hours a day. And that's it. Because if that's your only job, I mean, I saw a meme going around on Facebook recently, which is if you can give someone else 8 hours of your day to build their business, you can work on your own business for 1 hour.
so true. So
And I was
true.
like, oh, goosebumps, hell to the yes, right?
Yeah.
And it's the discipline. And so that was something that I noticed was different about me and all of us who are successful. We worked on the business every single day, except for the days we took off, right? Because the beauty about business, and this is true of all entrepreneurship, not just direct sales, is live the lifestyle you want to live before you achieve it. Not meaning spend
Mm.
outside of your thing,
Yeah.
but
So
if you're building a flexible business, then build the flexibility, but do the discipline, do the work when you're wanting to do it. Right. So I made sure because I learned the hard way by literally working myself 7 days a week and going, oh, no, 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 no. I have kids, very young children who want mommy. So I started taking off 2 to 3 days a week where I would not do the business. I would not pick up my phone except to answer calls from family or friends. Business calls could wait until the next day. Business texts could wait until the next day. I built my business the way I wanted to, and I stuck to my boundaries. I stuck to my guidelines. I had the discipline to work when I was supposed to work and stepped back when I wasn't working and really allowed myself to refill.
yes. Okay. So let's go to S.
Yes, this is obviously sales.
Oh,
Getting
yeah.
really good at sales. Understanding the difference between sales and marketing, right? What people are doing on social media is they're attempting to sell on social media. And what you should be doing is marketing on social media and doing the sales once people raise their hand and say, I need your product, or I have that problem, or whatever. And there are some very specific sales skills that people need in order to increase their sales. Ways to track their sales, ways to track their people. What kind of CRMs are they using? Do they even know what a CRM is? Et cetera, et cetera. Right. So, but really focusing on what they're doing for their sales each and every day of their business.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, especially for people that are getting into that as maybe a side hustle. They think it's going to be fun. They like the product. They want to be successful. But I think a lot of times women especially have a hard time connecting the sales piece. Like they have to, like you mentioned earlier, you asked, right? Not
Yeah.
everybody asked. Everybody, sometimes people think that, oh, everybody's going to come running to me. I want this, or I want to, but that doesn't work. And so if you have sales strategies that you can implement that don't make you salesy, more of
Right.
an invitation. And I'm sure you teach all of that process, but we have
Mhm.
to think about sales because if we're not doing everything to lead to a sale and doing things the right way to lead to a sale, we're just going to be spinning our wheels.
Yeah. Marketing is meant to bring you the leads so that you can have the conversations to identify your qualified prospects as customers, or in our case, potential team members, right?
Yeah.
And it comes from asking a lot of questions. In many sales trainings, you'll hear from people, the person who talks the most, quote unquote, loses, right?
Yep.
So when you as the salesperson are asking the right questions, so you have to know what the right questions are to ask based on your product in order to then have that conversation, learn about them to qualify them as a prospect or not, right? Because you may see them as a qualified prospect, but if they don't see that that problem that you solve, if it's not in the top 3 of their mind,
Right.
they're not your prospect yet. They
Right.
should go into your continue the relationship, help them find other people to solve those other problems that are more top of mind for them. So I tell people all the time, I have a 100% conversion rate in sales, right? But
Hmm.
here's the key to that. I'm not always selling for me, because when I'm having
Mm.
a conversation with somebody and they identify something else as their top prospect or top problem, then what I do is ask them, "Oh, that sounds like it really sucks as a problem. Are you ready to have that solved? Do you have someone in mind to help you solve it?" No. Well, I know somebody who solves that problem. So I have been since 2011 building my network of people around me so that I literally can solve any problem, any
Yeah.
problem. And if I don't have someone in my network yet, I know how to go
You
find
know how to
them to
find
solve
them.
someone's problem, right?
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
I solve enough, and this goes back to Zig Ziglar, when I help someone solve enough of their problems, then they're going to come back and go, "How can I help you with yours?" Right?
Yep.
And then it's
Absolutely.
like, "Well, let me help you with your sales," or "Can you introduce me?" That's when you can ask for the referral, ask for the sale, because you've done enough for them. You've put enough into the relationship bank account to be able to now make a withdrawal.
Yep. So good. So good. Love that. All right. The last letter is M.
M, mentoring,
Mm.
mentoring. And so this goes both ways. And most people typically think of mentoring, especially in the world of direct sales, as I need to find a mentor. But then when you're bringing on team members, you should be mentoring them, right? And so that's the recruitment and leadership piece, is the mentoring piece. And you can have more than one mentor yourself. So I hear from a lot of people, "Well, why do I need to hire you? I already have my upline." Yes, that is one mentor in your stable of people who can help you. What else are they not doing for you that you wish they would do? And can you find someone else? If not me, can you find someone else who can serve as that mentor role to help you with those other areas that your current upline is not serving for you? And so the mentoring piece really is that whole two-way street, being able to take the mentors that you're working with and take that information and pass it down to the people that you are mentoring. And I teach people, my clients, and through this process, how to mentor in a way that actually gets people to follow you,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Because in direct sales and network marketing, you are working with a volunteer army. You can't fire these people,
So true.
So it's if they don't do it, they don't get paid. But so what, right? Because
Yep.
they don't get paid, right? So it's not like you can hold a paycheck over their head like if they were a W-2 with you. they're all 1099 with the company that you're all 1099s for,
Right. Right. Yeah.
right?
It's,
So learning that leadership is really important.
yeah. How to inspire people and get people to want what you want, um, without like forcing them into them. You want them to want what you want as well. So you're all working together. Exactly.
And if I can share with you, the key to wanting what you getting them to want what you want, what the best leaders want what's best for the person,
Oh, absolutely.
right? And that's what's missing with so many people is they're like, I want them to sell. Yes, but why? Right? I want them to recruit. Yes, but why? And it can't be about you. And you help them see what is it because the sales and the recruiting piece cannot be about them because it's never going to be successful. It's gotta be about when they make that sale, it's not about the money, it's about what the money will do for them. It will pay for
Mhm.
the ballet lessons for their kid.
Yep.
It will start their retirement fund. It will start their whatever matters to them, and it's gonna be different for everybody, and if you as a leader don't know what matters to them, you're never gonna be able to inspire and motivate them.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you need the why beneath the why. All right. Well, we're
Mhm.
running out of time.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that we talk about the free gift that you're giving. And we're going to have the podcast in the show notes below and a link to this free gift. What you'll do is you'll get access to our gift vault. So you can get Jeannie's gift and the rest of them in our gift vault. So why don't you share what you're going to be providing for our audience?
Yes. This is the Badass Direct Sales Mastery bundle of gifts because what I've done is I've created a series of resources that hit every aspect of the direct sales and network marketing business, including the sales piece. How do you get better at sales? How do you get better at sponsoring? How do you get better at leadership? And so all of those are inside the badass bundle of resources that I have for your listeners right now. So if they just go to the gift vault, click on the link for the badass bundle, you're going to get access to all of those resources. So whatever it is that you may be struggling with in your business, and trust me, business is business is business. I don't care how you get paid. People who are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, you could probably benefit from some of these resources. So go take a peek at them, see which one works for you. And if they don't, that's okay. Share it with your sister, your cousin, your neighbor, whoever it is on your social media who's in direct sales and network marketing, and they will thank you.
Yes, awesome. All right. Well, this has been fun and very enlightening, and I love that. And I love when I have guests on the show because what happens is I get to know more about them on a deeper level, and they basically we all become referral partners for each other. So
Hmm.
I definitely can see how we can be supporting each other going forward. And I want to encourage everybody to head over to the gift vault, sign up, and get Jeannie's bundle because it's packed with great content. So before we end, Jeannie, do you have any final words?
No, I really think I want to thank you for having me here because I know, there's a lot of people who have me on their podcast and they're like, I'm not sure who in my audience this is going to help. And there's always a few who end up reaching out to the host and saying, thank you for having her on
Yeah.
because, you know, you don't always know what somebody is also doing because entrepreneurs are often doing multiple things to try and get those multiple streams of income going. And many of us use network marketing as another piece to create that stream of income. So I'm always happy to have a conversation with people and just really help your audience out. So thank you for allowing me to share the BDSM process with people so that they can figure out what they're missing.
Absolutely. And in the show notes, there also is going to be links to connect with Jeannie on different social platforms. And if you want to connect with her faster, just go ahead and send her a private message. I'm sure she'll reply to you and see how she could support you.
Absolutely. Just make sure you mention that you heard me here on Mastery
Of
Unleashed
course,
and
of course.
drop Christy's name so that way I will respond to you faster than the other random people who
I
pop
get
in.
it. I get it. I get it. Yeah, so true. So, all right. Well, thank you, Jeannie. This has been a lot of fun. And thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. And we will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Mastery Unleashed podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams by turning their mess into their greatest message and following their purpose to help the people who need their newfound wisdom and resources. To learn more, visit masteryunleashedpodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review to this show.